Welcome at Pizza and More. Some time ago I made already a video where I showed how to make a no-knead pizza dough. But I'm really wondering, is the no-knead pizza dough, is the gluten structure from the no-knead pizza dough really exactly the same like with the other dough? Yeah, I'm Jürgen and we make this time two doughs in parallel. One dough will be kneaded in a spiral mixer and the other dough will be made by no knead method. Yeah, I'm really wondering if the no knead dough is exactly the same good as a normal dough, a normal kneaded dough, then why are most of the people still kneading their doughs? Of course, in a bakery or in a pizzeria it's clear because they have huge amounts of dough, and I think with such big amounts of dough, it is really very difficult to do the no-knead method. But what happens during kneading? Normally, when we knead the dough, of course, all the ingredients are mixed. And we build during the time and during kneading the gluten structure. And the gluten structure is required to make the dough elastic and to keep all the water in the dough, and it prevents as well the dough from sticking. But of course, such a gluten structure can also be built with the no-knead method, which means we mix all the ingredients, then we let the dough rest for 30 minutes, for 1 hour, then we do the stretch and fold exercise, then we let the dough rest again, then we do again the stretch and fold, and so on and so on. And this over a period of time of 2 to 3 hours. And we do the stretch and fold 3 to 4 times. And then also a gluten structure might be built. But as I already questioned myself, is this gluten structure really the same stable and the same as with a dough which is kneaded in a mixer? I will make two doughs. One dough, as I said, in the spiral mixer and the other dough with the no-knead method. Both doughs will have exactly the same ingredients. Both dough will have the same procedure afterwards. And I thought I will make the dough with a total leavening time of 48 hours. And I will have a hydration of 70%. And because of this, I decided to use a flour with a high baking strength, which means my flour has 14% of protein and my flour has a W value of 340 to 360. But what says us this W value? Well, the W value tells us over which period of time the gluten structure is stable. And after which period of time the gluten structure breaks and the water comes out again, and then the dough starts sticking again. So the higher the W value, the higher the baking strength. And now I would say we start with our dough. As I already said, the ingredients for both doughs are exactly the same. That's the reason why I show you only one portion of ingredients. By the way, all the measurements and what we need is in the video description, and also the procedure how to create a no-knead dough and how to create the direct dough. Everything will be found as in each other video as well in the video description. I have here 500 grams of Typo 00 flour. This has, as I already have said, 14 grams of protein. Then I have here 350 grams of cold water, cold for the no-knead dough and extra cold for the dough which will be made in the spiral mixer. Then I have here 15 grams of fine sea salt and 0.5 grams of dry yeast, and if you want to use fresh yeast then please use 1.5 grams. I would say we start right now with the no-knead dough, because in the time when the no-knead dough rests the first time, then I already can make the dough in the spiral mixer. The first what we do is we pour the water into the bowl And then for mixing everything we use a wooden spoon. You also could use directly your hands or a hand mixer or whatever you want. And then we add already the first third of the flour. And to the flour we add our yeast. And then we mix this portion a bit. And because we will not knead the dough, we add now the salt. Yeah, and that we dissolve the salt right now in the water. This helps us afterwards that the salt is good distributed in our dough. And then we add the rest of our flour. And everything will be mixed. And now we will mix everything with the wooden spoon. Of course, it would be maybe a bit easier by hand. We mix everything until all the loose ingredients are taken over from the dough. And then we take a dough ball box and we add some olive oil. Because with the olive oil it's easier to do the stretch and fold. Yeah, and then we add our dough to the box. We close the lid of the box and then we let rest the dough for around 30 minutes. And for the dough we make in the spiral mixer, we also pour at first the water into the bowl. Then we can add the whole amount of flour and the yeast. And then we start mixing for around 5 minutes. And after 5 minutes we add the salt and then we continue kneading until we are able to make the window test. After 25 minutes of kneading, my dough is ready. I took out a piece of dough and I will stretch this dough right now. And you can see I'm able to stretch the dough very thin, which means the gluten structure is built in the machine, which means I can take out the dough. The dough is right now here on my counter, and which means I have to shape a nice dough ball, which means I do also with this dough now stretch and fold. For this I take it from the left and from the right. I lift it, put it back onto the counter, stretch it and fold it over. And then I do this several times. And then if we did the stretch and fold several times, we turn the dough ball, we pull it to us, and then we see how nice the surface will be. And as soon we have a nice shaped dough ball, we put it into a dough ball box. And when the dough ball is in the box, we close the lid, we let it rest at room temperature for around 2 hours, and then we put it into the fridge for around 22 hours. And the other dough is in the meanwhile ready to make the first time stretch and fold. Therefore I covered already one hand with water. This makes things easier. And then I take the dough, I stretch it, and then I fold it over. And this is something I do now around the circle. And we already can see that the structure of the dough changed. We let the dough rest now for 30 minutes, then we repeat the exercise and so on or we do this 3 or 4 times. And after this, we put the dough into the fridge. For the dough with the no knead method, I made 4 times stretch and fold. Both those were 2 hours at room temperature, and then I put them into the fridge. They were now for 20 hours in the fridge. Now I took them out and now I shape the dough balls. Here we have both those in a direct comparison, and we can really see this dough is the dough which I made only with the stretch and fold. This one was kneaded in the mixer, and we can see this dough ball has a bit more shape than this one. This dough went a bit more flat, but I saw during the stretch and fold this dough has an absolutely structure, and now I will shape the dough balls. I detected absolutely zero difference between both doughs. It was absolutely easy with both to shape the dough balls. The dough was not sticking. It was really working absolutely great. They are elastic. Everything is perfect. Now I'm really looking forward for baking the pizza. However, now I will put them directly back into the fridge, and I will let them in the fridge for around 18 to 20 hours. Because around about 4 to 6 hours before baking, it will depend a bit on the room temperature, I will take them out of the fridge so that they have the possibility to raise a bit more and to get back to room temperature. As I already said, I put the dough balls directly into the fridge after shaping the dough balls, and then 4 hours ago I took them out and put them to room temperature. The time from shaping the dough balls up to now was around about 24 hours. I will show you now the dough, how the dough balls look like. We will compare them, and then I will make the pizza, both pizzas, and at the end we compare the result. Here we have now the dough in the direct comparison. This one is this one which I made in the no knead, and this one was in the kneading machine, in the mixer. The difference of the color, that this one is a bit more yellow. This might come from the olive oil which I put onto the ground of the box, because you saw my olive oil which I have is very full of color, and therefore I think this is that these pizza balls are a bit more yellow than this one. However, I think you also can see that obviously the dough which was made in the mixer has more or a more strong gluten structure than the other one, because this one with the no knead is very flat and they have more their original shape. But however, I think it will not change the taste. And now let's see how the result in the pizza oven is.
Non più tra i farfalloni amoroso, notte e giorno di torno girano, delle belle turbando al riposo, narcisetto gino d'amor.
Yeah, and here we have the first pizza. This is the pizza which I made from the dough, which was kneaded by the spiral mixer. And you can see how full of air this dough is, or this crust is. And now, of course, I will have a look. Yeah, and here you can see how full of air this crust is.
Non più tra i farfalloni amoroso, notte e giorno di torno girano, delle belle turbando al riposo, narcisetto gino d'amor.
And this is now the pizza which I made from the dough with the no knead method. It is not the same like the other, I will show you in a second both, but it is also full of air. And here you can see how full of air it is. And here we have both in the direct comparison, kneaded, not kneaded. Yeah, and you saw now in the direct comparison there is not a huge difference. So, okay, the crust might be looking a bit more nicer than with the kneaded dough than with the other one, but I think the result of both pizzas is exactly the same. It's fantastic. The only difference I really saw, or I really detected right now, was while stretching the dough. So the pizza I stretched, so the dough from the pizza, which was in the mixer, was far stronger than the other one. It was easier to stretch the pizza from the dough from the no knead method. It was really weaker, which means the gluten structure really was more developed in the mixer. But however, the result is fantastic from both. And if you won't invest lots of money in a mixer and you have only small batches, you saw it's absolutely possible to make it also with the no knead method. Yeah, if you like my video, it would be fantastic if you would subscribe my channel. And then we see us also in the next video. Ciao.